Let's try to see a quick sneak peek that what we are trying to build in the document understanding series. In my input folder, I have 3 PDF. 2 are invoice, one is a native invoice, one is a scanned invoice, and then I have a receipt which is also in a scanned format. I'll go to my automation and I'll say run the file. Automation completed in 31 seconds. In the folder, I have 3 Excel file now. For the invoice, the relevant data such as the server name, the total and the date is extracted. Similarly, for the invoice, we have extracted the account number, the invoice number as well as the date. And same goes for the invoice number too. So this is the automation we are going to build. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the document understanding series with UiPath, where we are looking at the document understanding in a step-by-step manner. So this was our complete document understanding video roadmap, and this is also the complete document understanding stages. So in the previous videos, we have already covered all of the stages except the one which is highlighted in green, which is the export, right? So today in this video, we are going to see that how does the export happens once we have validated the extraction result and once the information is extracted. Okay, so in case you are directly coming to this video, I would request you to watch the previous videos so that this video would make sense. Also, in case you want to practice along, I have also uploaded the files in the website which is mentioned on the top, right? So with that, let's go to today's video, which is the export extraction results. If I talk of the agenda, this would be our agenda for today. We are going to have a quick recap of all the stages, whatever we have done. Then we are going to see what exactly it means to consume the data. Then we are going to see how can I export the extraction result, and at the end we are going to validate the output, right? So this would be our complete agenda for today. Before directly going to the video, in case you are coming to the channel for the first time and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the latest videos in the document understanding series. Subscribing to the channel is free for you, but that helps me to grow my YouTube channel. Having said that, let's get started. Okay, so these are the sample files which we have been running through the complete automation. I have got 2 invoices and 1 receipt which we have kept. Okay, and then we created the taxonomy. We defined all the files whichever I need to extract. After that, I created the digitization stage where I digitized all the scanned and I got a digitized output. All of this output then was transferred to something which was classification, where we classified whether the document is an invoice or is it a receipt. After the classification, we have seen something which is called the present classification station, where if the document was not able to properly classify, how I can increase the confidence score and how you can train back the model, right? So this also we have seen. After that, we have seen that how you can extract the data, and in this use case we are using the regular expression based extraction. And we have seen that the regex was 100% able to extract all the information, and which we have seen in this format. But later we also discussed that what happens if sometime the data is not properly extracted. So in the last video we have seen when I provide a new document, a new receipt, new invoice, how as a human you can validate the data, and that's what we discussed about something which is called the validation station, what is its importance and how you can manually validate the data before exporting, right? So till this point, UiPath document understanding frameworks understand that yes, either I will get the data from the extraction result or I will get the data from validation. And this is the same thing we have depicted in the diagram also, right? So if after the extraction, if everything is good, if all the data are extracted, we directly go to this stage, which is the export. In case we need to train the model, then it goes to the validation, which is the human review, and after the human review, it directly goes to the export, right? So in both the cases, the final stage for us is the export, and that is what we are going to see in this video. Okay, so if I talk about the activity which we are going to see today is called the export extraction results. Okay, the name of the activity is export extraction results. Now Once I have validated the data as a human, we need to export it. Now, why do I need to export it? So the idea is simple. As of now, it is available in some variables which is related to the document understanding. In case I have to use it in some application, or let's say I have it loaded to the queue, or in simple words, if I have to put in an Excel or in a database, right, I need to extract this data from the document understanding variables and put it in a format that we can use in the other application. So that is what consuming the data means, which simply means that whatever extraction result I have, now I will export in a format that can be used by the other applications. It can be queues, it can be Excel, it can be data table, anything, any ERP application, anything, right? And one more important thing here is, you might have seen in the previous video, we have got something which is called a confidence level. Now, the export activity also asks us whether you want to export only the data, or when I am exporting the data, would you also like to see the confidence? So that setting also you can control in this activity, right? And one more thing we should remember here is that the input for this activity, it can be from the extract wizard directly or from the data whichever the human has validated, right? So it can be from this or it can be from this one, right? So I hope you are following along till this point. Let's go to UiPath Studio and see this in action now. Okay, so back to my UiPath Studio. This is the same project. In it, taxonomy, digitization, classification, extraction and validation, right? And in the last video, if you remember, we created a flag that whether or not we need to have a validation. If validation is required, then we have this validation station. If validation is not required, we can simply go here and mark this guy to false. In that case, the validation will not happen. Okay, so same like validation, let me see what we have done. Okay, so we have this if activity where we have the flag and then we did the validation. Okay, now let me just go here and I'll take a new sequence. This sequence I'll call as export. Okay, I'll call this sequence as export, and now here I want to write code to export. So I'll go to the activities and I'll search here export, and you would see in the document understanding you have something which is called export the extraction results. I'll drag and drop it here, and now these extraction result, as I have shown in the picture, it can come from this stage also or it can come from this stage also. The idea is simple, right? If your validation station has opened and if you want to write all the data back to the Excel, you are going to use this data. And if everything was good here, you can directly use this data as well, right? So let's try to use first the validation data and see what does this guy is asking. This is asking me, Mukesh, tell me where is your extraction results. So I'll go to the extraction, expand this, and you will see here in the data extraction scope, the output was in this variable which was extraction results, right? So I'll pass that variable to here, extraction results, right? And the output here is a data set. Now what is a data set? The data set is a collection of data table, right? So here I'll go and I hit Control plus K and I will create something called, let's say, data set. So I'll just write ds underscore output. Okay, so output data set I created ds underscore output. Now when I am exporting this data, if I go to the properties, you would notice it is asking me, do you want to include the confidence and the OCR confidence? This now is coming from the validation station which you might have seen, right? So I'll go here, So this is now the confidence which we have got in the extraction, and from the previous video you might be able to relate it that how it was shown in the validation station, right? So for this one I'll just go and tick mark both of them that yes, I want to see all the data. Okay, so that completes the extraction. Now good practice, I'll just go here and add log messages, drag and drop it here. I'll say this is a info label log, and I'll say extraction started, and here I say extraction completed, right? So now if you remember our use case, the use case was that we need to extract the data and we need to put into some ERP or something, right? In our case, as of now, we are just going to put it into an Excel, right? Now if you see here I have something which is called data set, and now from the data set we have to extract some of the data. Let's see the structure, that what does this data set have, and then you would automatically realize that how I can extract the data, right? So I'll put a breakpoint directly in this one, and let's see which document I have given. So this time I have the invoice 3. Okay, and for the validation I have set the flag to false, so that means that validation will not pop up as of now. Okay, so we'll go here and we'll say debug the file. So let's see what happens. So I'll keep an eye on the logs. Okay, so the document which is passed is invoice. Let's see how it behaves. So the automation started, taxonomy completed, digitization. I hope now you guys are able to understand what all these means. Okay, it is able to classify it as an invoice, 92% confident, and validation was not required, and extraction started, and then we have kept a breakpoint. The output of the extraction is in this one, which is the output, dataset output. So let's go to the locals and try to analyze it. So if you see here, I have got something which is a data set. If I click on this small icon here, you would see that inside the data set, okay, let's see what we have got. Inside the data set, you have something which is called tables, right? You see here, I have something which is called tables. If I click and expand the tables, you would see here, I have got 2 tables. And when I say table, I simply mean data table. Okay. And now if you see here, I have got 2 data table collection. Okay, so I have got 2 data table collection. If you just click on this guy, which is the sync root, you would see that you have 2 data table collection. One data table collection is the simple fields, and the other data table collection is the simple fields formatted. So these are the 2 data tables where the export extraction result is going to put your data. And as we understand from our Excel knowledge that to put the data into an Excel, we require a data table. So that data table is here. And if you see where is this data table, this is in the tables. And where is this table? This table is in the data set. Okay. So now let's try to write this data back to an Excel. Okay. So we have understood it is inside the data set, inside the tables. Okay. So I'll go here and I'll stop this for a while. Right, that was just to show you that, to understand you, to make you understand that how does the structure look like. Now here I just want to add an right range, right, app integration, and I want to use this one, which is the workbook right range. Why I am using right range? Because I have Excel installed but I don't want to open it, so I am using right range. We have already covered the Excel automation in a previous video series, so I am not spending much time here. In case you are new to Excel, please refer the Excel playlist. Okay, so it is asking me where is your workbook path. So I'll just pass here data.xlsx, that I want to create data.xlsx into the project folder. Now it says what is the sheet name. So I'll just call the sheet name as sheet 1 maybe. And now it is asking me where is your data table. So my data table is in the data set, right? Data set output. And now inside that we have seen that it was inside the tables. So I'll put dot tables. Now it is asking me there can be multiple tables. Which table you want? So I have seen that there were 2 tables. So I'll just put here 0. And that way it is happy that okay, I need to get the table 1 into the sheet 1. I'll copy paste this activity again, and I will create a new sheet which I will call as sheet 2, and in this sheet I want to print the next data set. Create an Excel whose name is data.xlsx, have a sheet 1, put the first data table, and have a sheet 2, put the second data table. The index start with 0. Okay, and then here in the properties we'll just say add the headers. I want to see what is the heading, and in the right range also I'll say add the headers. Okay, we'll save this, and if everything works well we should have a file here. Go here and say run the file. Okay, so this time we are trying to export the data from the invoice. Okay, let's see what do we get. So the taxonomy started, taxonomy completed, digitization, classification, all the stages happen one by one. Extraction started, completed in 27 seconds. I see no exception, finger crossed. Let's go to the project and hit a quick refresh. And I see a file data.xlsx. I'll double click on the file to open it, and let's see what data we have got. Right? So if you see here, I have got nothing. Into the sheet 2 also I have got nothing, and I think I know the reason for that. Let me just close this. Okay, we'll say don't save, right? And let's try to see what is the input which we have given. So I'll go to the main sequence, and in the init, let's see which one I have given. Okay, we have given the invoice 3 which was not trained, right? And here we need a human validation, that's why it is not getting passed. Okay, so maybe I'll just change it to the different invoice from our folder. I hope you guys get it why I am not getting the data, because in the previous video we have seen we require a human validation here, right? And we have done the regex extraction only for invoice 1, invoice 2 and receipt, and not for this one, right? But for this one we can always do the present validation. Okay, that also we are going to see. So here what I'm going to do is I'll just go and change it to, I'll just open this folder and I'll pass it to invoice 1, copy as path, right? Why we are not able to get the data for this invoice? Because the regex based extractor was not trained for that file which I have done in the last video and I forgot to update it, right? So for the invoice 1, same thing. Let's try to save this, go here and run the file. Okay, so that is also a good use case. We'll see how we can entertain that as well, but let's try to first see the happy scenarios. Okay, so now I have passed the invoice 1. We know that invoice 1 we were able to extract the data, and for invoice 1 we did not need the validation station, right? For invoice 3, yes, definitely we need the validation station. So we'll just wait and let's me monitor the logs. Okay, and in the output I can see that invoice 1, it is an invoice, 87% confidence, extraction started, completed, validation was not required, and done. So now let me go back to the project and I'll just open this data file and let's see what data we have in the data file. And here it is. So the data which we have got for invoice 1 is this. So I have 2 sheets, since there were two tables, in one of the sheet you would see that I have got all the data, invoice number with two additional values, which is the invoice number confidence and the OCR confidence. We needed the account number and the confidence, the date and the confidence. Now the same data you are also going to see in the sheet 1, and you might think, Mukesh, what is the difference? So the difference is there were two sheets. One was the formatted and the other was unformatted, right? So one data is formatted data and the other is an unformatted data, where you have the data with special format. Let's say you have something date which is stored as in a different format. So that's why you see different format of the dates. Okay, and maybe when we are writing the data for any other thing, we can maybe change these values, right? So first thing first, you should notice that we have given the invoice 1, which was this, and we told it to extract this, the account number and the other detail, right? And it was successfully able to extract that information. How cool is that? Okay, let's try it for the, I'll save this. And let's try it for the invoice number 2 again. Okay, and let's try to see if extraction works or not. So here I'll just make it to invoice 2. I'll save this. Okay, and you will see here in this document path you are also having the file name, right? So in this document path you also have the file name. So now when we are creating the Excels, okay, you can change the name of the Excel to the file name. How you can do that? You can just go here, and I have the file name into that path. So you can just use a .NET function, which is path dot get file name. Okay, so path dot get file name, get me the file name from the path. And what is the path? The path is str document path, and this will give you the complete path of the document. I'll save this, and that way when it is creating a new Excel, it will create the Excel by that name. So I'll just go here and I'll say pass this here. Okay, similarly for the sheet name here, for the sheet name I can just name it by the name of the table. So for the sheet name I would write in the data set dot tables. It will give all the tables. For the first table, which is the table 0, dot and put here table name. So whatever is the name of the table, that it will print in the sheet name. Similarly for the second sheet, instead of the sheet 2, here we are printing the table 1. So the same thing I'll do here. I hope you guys are following along. So from the data set you have the tables. We have seen you have two tables. So whatever is the name of the second table, just name the sheet by that name. And that way now when I run this automation, you will get a new file with the document name which we have got dynamically, and whatever is the table name you will get it here, and the data we have already seen. Now we'll save this, go here and run the file, right? So slowly and gradually you have to make enhancements to your automation so that you can make it more dynamic, and that is what we are doing. First we just tested whether it is working fine or not, and then we gradually started working on the fine grain of this automation. Okay, so let's see how do I get this output this time. Okay, so I have got an I have got a error here. It says that Mukesh in the right range. I forgot, sorry, my bad. So now you would see this error here, and I think you would also get this error, but let me explain and then we'll fix it, right? So it says that right range cannot write .pdf. Here I am telling UiPath that name the Excel by the sheet name, but the name of the Excel is invoice1.pdf, right? And the name of the Excel cannot be PDF, right? So we need to put .xlsx. So here I will say that get the file name without the extension. Get me the file name but without the extension from this path and put .xlsx after it. Right? Previously I told it, okay, just directly get me the file path, and it says that okay, .pdf cannot be an Excel path, and that's true. So I am saying that get me the file name but without extension and then put a .xlsx after it. Right? Now I'll copy this and pass the same to the other right range, right? Because otherwise this will also give the same error, right? So these are the programming error, guys, you will not get if you are following this, but you need to know how do you fix those errors, right? That's why I always tell you, please start learning the Visual Basic.NET. A little bit of VB.NET always helps in solving such errors. Okay, so now let's see what happens. And seems like this time we have accomplished it. So I'll go to the project, hit a refresh. Yes, invoice2.xlsx is created. Awesome. Let's try to open that file. And this time the sheet name also should be proper, right? See, simple fields and simple field formatted. Simple fields, invoice number, the account number, the date, and this is the formatted and this is the simple fields, right? And why we are getting this confidence number? Because we told UiPath to give it, right? And that is also working fine. So let's close this and I'll say save. Okay, now I want you to play around with some of the settings. For the extraction results, we can go to the properties and I'll say that do not include this thing. Okay, and let's try to run the receipts now. So I'll go to the top and I'll change this to now receipts. Okay, and this time I'm telling UiPath not to include those confidence level. Let's see what happens. Run the file, right? And for all of these data, guys, we are not including the validation station because we have seen it was 100% confidence and our boolean flag is set to false. Okay, so let's see what happens. Automation started. We can see here, yep, digitization, all the stages, and this time it should classify as the receipt. And for receipts we have put some of the fields to extract. Okay, 75% confident, moving ahead, completed. Let's go back to the here, hit a quick refresh. Okay, receipts.xlsx is created. Let me open it. The difference you would notice is we didn't told it to get the additional details, so that's why it's only showing the server name, the total, the date, and the simple fields as well. How cool is that, right? So now till this point we have not shown the validation station. Okay, I'll just say maybe don't save or save. Okay, so now for one of the invoice, right, which I was running, we have seen invoice 3 that nothing was extracted because the regex was not configured to handle that invoice. So in that case, ideally in the real-time automation, what would happen? The validation station should have open, right? So let me go here and I'll say that I'll go to the variables and I'm telling UiPath that I want you to open the validation station. I'll set it to true. Okay, and now here let me pass the new invoice. Which is here. I guess this was, if I just remember it, yes, this was the invoice, right? So what would happen this time? It will open the validation station for us. Invoice3.pdf, right? This was the same. And I have opened the validation station also. I'll save this, go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, so let's go back and see the logs. Yep, digitization, and it would be able to classify as the invoice we have seen in the last video, but it would show us the validation station where we have to manually validate what is the data, and if anything is missing we just have to provide it, right? So now the validation has started, and now since the flag is true, it is going to open the validation station for us. Okay, and here it is. See, nothing it was able to extract, that's why you don't see anything in the Excel also. So now I'll just point it to the value. Where is the invoice number? This is the invoice number, and I'll click on this button, right, already discussed, and say extract the, not this, the plus button, extract the value. Got it? Account number, okay, we don't have the account number, so I can say this is missing. And where is the date? We'll take invoice date, and I'll click on this, and the date is here, and I say submit. The validation station completed, and extraction also completed, right? Now if I go back to my project and hit a quick refresh, you would see here invoice 3.xlsx is created. Let me open it, and still I don't have any data. Now you might be thinking why. Most of you might have guessed it, but let me tell you why the data is not here, right? Now here you have to think logically. Okay, so if you see in your, please pay a little focus here, okay, it's my request. In the export, while I am exporting the data, I have passed the variable of extraction results, which is from this block. So we are exporting all the data from this one. Now in case we have enabled the validation station, right, this guy is not having any data, and we are trying to put that. But if you see the validation data, validation station, once you have validated the data, the output of the validation goes into the validated extraction results. Validated extraction results, right? So this is the variable which is having this data. So first thing first, I'll increase the scope. And the next thing is, while you are writing the data, exporting the data here, right, depending whether the flag is true or false, you need to have the different variable here, different extraction results, right? So I'll simply take an if activity here as well. Okay, in this if activity, I'll say that what was the flag validation required. If the validation required was false, then your this thing works perfectly. Export it, export both the tables, this works perfect. But in case it is not there, or sorry, in case the validation is there, then I'll just copy paste this export extraction at the top, or maybe I'll copy paste all these three activity, Control C, Control V, and the only change I'm going to do is, instead of this extraction results, I would say validated extraction results. Whatever the human has validated, from that get the data set and then write that data set back to the Excel, and that way on that flag it can decide, right? So I hope you understood this logic. Okay, so let me go here and I'll just delete this invoice 3 as of now completely, right? Anyways, it's Excel, so it should override, but I want to make it a fresh. So I'll go here and I'll say run the file. Okay, so this time the validation station will again pop up, but the change is I have put a if condition in the extraction. If in the extraction it is coming from the human validated, pass the human validated data. If it is not, then whatever is extracted, just pass that data. And all of that is coming from our DU flow, right? So let's just wait for this automation to complete. Not complete, first it will show me that pop-up. Okay, let me see what is happening. Okay, so process digitization, and extraction, and then it should show me the present validation. Same thing which happened last time. Invoice number, this is the invoice number, account number is missing. Click on the date, invoice date, add the date and say submit. Okay, completed. Awesome. Let's go back to the project, hit a quick refresh, and here we have the invoice 3. Let's open it, and this time I have the data. I have the invoice number, I have the account number. Same thing, formatted, unformatted. We didn't get the OCR confidence because we told UiPath not to extract that, right? And with this, we were successfully able to extract all the data from all the files which we have trained and one which we have not trained. Okay. Now, the last thing which is remaining here is that in a real-time automation, you won't be changing this thing each and every time, right? So let's try to fix this as well, right? So this was we have done so that we could test the stages. Now we have completed the flow. All these files are located in our input files, which is this folder, right? So maybe I'll just copy paste this complete folder and I will run this automatic in a loop so that automatically all of this happens and we get the direct output. Okay. So what I will do is let's try to streamline this. Okay. So first of all, I'll go here and take a for each activity. Okay. So I'll take a for each activity and then here I say for each file in folder. I'll drag and drop it here. Now it is asking me where is the path. This is the path of the folder, or you can simply click on this file button as well and you can simply point it to the file. Okay. So okay, it's in double quotes, my bad. Yeah. So this is the complete file name for each current file. I don't want to include subfolder or anything. What do we want to do? Here we want to get the document path one by one. Right, and here in the value to save, I would, instead of hard coding it every time, I am telling UiPath that for the current file, whichever you are looping in this variable, do this operation for the current file. Right, it is giving an error. It's saying that hey, I am not able to convert it, so I'll just put a .toString. Okay, so that current file.toString will have the complete path of the file and it will give it to this. Right, next what I'll do is I'll take a log message activity. Okay, and after this one I'll say this is the info level log and I'll just say processing. Right, and I'll just print the str document path so that I know that what is happening. Right, and all these operations whichever you see here, taxonomy, digitization, all this should happen inside the for each here. Now after this, all these steps should happen one by one, right? So I'll just put first for each document, for the first document do the taxonomy, then do the digitization, then do the classification, oh sorry, my bad, then do the classification, then do the this one, present validation. You might be thinking, Mukesh, you can do it all at once, but I would like to do it one by one because I don't want to mess up the flow. Okay, and ideally this is not the best practice to do it, and that's what we are going to see in the upcoming videos, right? So but as of now this is what we have. Okay, so yes, so what we have done, so we have the initialization section where we have put the initialization section into a for each, right? So here in the for each, and this one maybe I can say in it I'll change it to main, something like this, right? So that it's easy. So the main, we have a for each file in the folder, all the files, it may be 10, 3, 15, 20 files. For each and every file, get the file name. This assign is for the getting the file name. I'll rename it, get the file name, Okay, it will get each and every file name, it will print the log, and then this all of this happen one by one, and then it will export the data into wherever you say it to export, right? So as of now we are exporting and writing it the data into this same folder, but the good one would be I'll just go here and maybe I'll go to this folder, open the project folder, we'll delete this, all these invoices, right, which were generated, and delete. Okay, we'll have a clean run. So same like input files, I would have a new folder, I will call it output files maybe, right, and we would like to see all these Excel files into this output files, right, for each and every document. So this output files, we'll just go here and pass it in front of this one, right? So whatever you get the path.file name, put it in the output folder, output file.xlsx plus, right, and that way all these files would be now saved in the output folder. I have done it for this one, I'll update it here. Oops, my bad. Right, save this, and the same thing we have to do in the else part also. In the right range, open it, paste it here. All I am telling is to put it in the output file so that it's neat to see, right? You can just run it as it is, so it will also run. It's not a problem. Okay, and paste it here, save this, Ctrl+S. Okay, so that completes the automation, at least for us. Okay, now what I want you guys to do before I run this automation, if this is successful and we all are able to get 3 Excel files in our output folder with all the data extracted, right, I want you guys to take a screenshot of your project, maybe this project, or take a screenshot of the output data and post it on the social media and tag me saying that Mukesh, following your document understanding playlist, I was able to complete one use case. It would give me so much happiness that yes, people are able to reach till this point. Okay, I will wait for the post of the people. Let's see who posts first. Okay, before running, I will just go to the variables and I will make this validated, is validation required to false, right, because I don't want to validate it again and again, right? So I just made it to false because we are not anyways dealing with that new invoice, so I don't want that validation pop up. Okay, now with the flag set to false, let's go here and say run the file. Okay, so we have the output files which is blank, and this time the change is we have told UiPath to pick all the files one by one from the folder. Previously we were manually changing the files, right? And now you can see in the logs it says the processing, which is the log which we have put. It have picked the first file from the folder, loaded the taxonomy, completed and digitization, and then it has started the processing, right? In a real-time automation, all these files can be from a SharePoint. The files can be picked from queue. It can be in email as an attachment, right? So you just get all the files, assign it to the variables, pass it in a variable like this we are processing, and then the rest of the process is exactly the same in the document processing, right? And the output we are writing into Excel, you can write now into a database, data table, into an application. All of that is your implementation. So you can see in the logs, it started with invoice1.pdf, 87% confident, extraction completed, then process the invoice 2, then process the receipts, and all of that is completed within 1 minute, right? Now let's go back to the output files, and we clearly can see we have 3 output files. Let's validate. So we have invoice 1, invoice 2 and receipts. So let's open the invoice 1. Okay, so this is my invoice 1, and this is the input file, which is the invoice one. I'll put it here like this maybe. Yep. 14375 2019, right? It's able to extract it properly. I'll close this. Don't save. Let's go to the receipts. This was the receipt, right? And see what data we have got for the receipts. So I'll go to the output files. In the receipts, here it is. Server name is Michelle, the total is 19.88 and the date is 4/13/2019. This was a scanned. The last one was also an invoice. Here 1803 C106 814, and I'll go to the inputs and let's validate the invoice number 2, which is this. The name of the file is invoice 2 I1083 C1006 814 2008. So that means we were successfully able to complete our document understanding use case and we were able to extract all the data, right? So this is your final output, guys. You can just take a screenshot like this, which you see on the screen. Anyways, you just have to tell me that you guys were able to complete this use case and please tag me in the LinkedIn, or you can just send an email to me that yes, you have completed, right? In case you are shy to post in LinkedIn, you can also tell me via an email, right? I will wait for your emails. I will wait for your post that you guys have completed this. Okay, so that was the complete document understanding use case. Okay, the last update is whatever code you see on the screen would be uploaded on the same place where you downloaded the file. So from there you can download this code and you can run it on your own. But I would request you to please create it on your own so that you understand the framework, right? So with that, I would like to wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. I hope document understanding, now you have some clarity and you are very much confident now on at least to get started with document understanding, right? Any more questions, any more feedback, please write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.